Nice job, cows. Alright guys, I just kind of want to make this video today to kind of help guide you through on how I diagnosed 9 codes that came up on my truck one day. My brother was driving it, it had been raining, and I was able to diagnose all 9 codes with a single wire. So hopefully this will help you. If not your exact problem, maybe it'll help you figure out how to find and locate your electrical issue. So let's get in it. So one of the main problems that we were having is that it was throwing a code for the VCT sensors on both sides. So that was 4, and I'm trying to remember the other one. It was the MAP sensor, and which is manifold absolute pressure. There's another sensor up here, and it collectively was 9 sensors. And the best thing that I could find was on Ford.com, actually going through like their parts list and finding the wiring harness. It gave me a diagram showing where it came from the computer over the back side of the motor. It splits into 2, one for the passenger side, one for the driver's side, and really helped me locate kind of where it could be coming from. And I ended up going through the entire vehicle, going through under each side of the dash, checking all the fuses, the panel here, the one on the passenger side, and really trying to figure out where something was lost connectivity or had a ground or short. And when you're not finding frayed wires and everything's plugged in and sensors are checking out, it is extremely frustrating because it caused a loss of power. The vehicle just sounded horrific. It sounded like it wasn't getting oil pressure up here, and unfortunately kept driving in that way for just a minute. But at the end of the day, I don't think it really hurt anything. It just, the VCTs were not functioning properly. They were getting oil pressure. But in an ideal world, you would switch to a different vehicle at the time and have a different vehicle. So kind of had to keep doing it, but I was digging in it every day trying to find what the problem was, and I'll show you some of the areas that I ended up looking before I found it. So I've been digging through the entire vehicle. I went down the wiring harness for the body control. They went down the driver's side frame rail all the way to the back. That's actually how I discovered the locking differential had been frayed when it had been rubbing against the brake line hose back there. I started taking apart every connector, making sure one wasn't corroded, you know, main connectors like these, short of taking them off from the computer, because these 9 codes were all leading back to basically something being unplugged. And you're just gonna hear my cows. Digging in here, finally, the one thing that let me into it, and the symptom that kind of caught my eye is where I started digging a little closer, is it had been raining. My brother had been driving, he was pulling a load, and he said he splashed up some water. As soon as he splashed up the water, you know, where it kind of hits your wheel wells and, you know, rainbows out of the car, he said all of a sudden codes popped up and the truck lost power. And it was still running, but it was not right. And it kind of let me into this passenger side. Looking through everything, I was looking through the battery, the negative, post, everything, and I ended up seeing right here on top of the inner splash shield a little bit of green, like copper green, and it just seemed odd. So I ended up picking up this wiring harness right here. I took it apart and looked and didn't see anything, and I flipped over this wire right here. So we can get real close. This wire, that it had been doing the same thing that the rear end had. The wire had been rubbing on, this is like canvas, kind of a thick canvas material, composite, I don't know what they do with it, but it holds moisture. When it rains, that thing gets wet and heavy. And it had been rubbing against it. So when he splashed up water, the water got to it and caused a short, a ground. And that one wire was responsible for reading to the computer. This one right here, do you believe it is? It's like navy and brown. Yeah, there's a brown stripe on there, so it's like navy blue and brown. That one wire was responsible for the 9 overhead sensors on top of the motor. And as soon as I fixed that, we had power, the RPMs are correct, all 9 codes automatically went away. I did not have to reset the computer or erase the codes. So it may not be as simple as right here, but a similar issue. And like I said, go through those Ford wiring diagrams, and it will kind of give you a guideline of where to look. You know, it'll show you the shape of your wiring harness when it's off the motor and give you an idea of where to go, because I followed this bundle right here all the ways back to the back of the motor where it splits off, goes to the driver's side, passenger side. When you start seeing it broken down like that, you realize it's not as complicated as it first comes across, and you got to be careful when doing it because you don't want to end up causing another issue aside from the one you're trying to fix. So just be cautious, but you very well could do this on your own at home and save a lot of money, because I'm sure taking that to Ford to diagnose that may have taken them, with a couple of computers that they have, an hour or two, and probably thousands of dollars to diagnose. So hopefully this helps. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure to leave a like, a comment. If there's something I did wrong, you're like, totally go this way, do this, leave it down below. Give me some of your feedback. I'd appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the love, support, and we'll see you in the next one.